Bill Maher yaps nonsense with Marianne Williamson on his podcast. In this video, we're going to talk about Bill Maher's comments he made to Marianne Williamson about working class people and how they're the problem. But before we do that, my name is Tim Black. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you're interested in Cornell West Run in 2024, follow this channel. This is where I cover all of that. But by popular demand, people say, Tim Black, what do you think about Marianne Williamson? Marianne Williamson is a presidential candidate. She's running under the Democratic Party. She's considered progressive. She was talking to Bill Maher about a number of issues, and one of them kind of caught my attention, and people have been talking about it. It's about some comments that Bill Maher made about what's really wrong with America.
Are you on the campaign trail?
I am. I am on the campaign trail.
That must be grueling.
It is grueling. It is very grueling. It's a mix of awful emotional roller coaster and really exhilarating at the same time.
What's the exhilarating part?
Talking to people. You know, the American people are not the problem. The sclerotic political and media systems that suppress and thwart the will of the people is the problem. But when you actually just are out there talking to people, people would ask me, what was your experience last time? And it's even more so this time, that the system, the political media industrial complex, is even more corrupt than I feared, and the people are even more wonderful than I hoped.
I don't agree. And again, I'm glad you're here because we can be honest about this and say we appreciate each other for saying what we think our truth is. But I sort of understand why, as a politician, even if you didn't really believe that, you have to say that. You can't start.
No, I don't say things you have to say. I'm not running saying things.
So
I think we have different experiences. That's.
You know what Marianne Williamson is saying here is pretty standard for like the progressive type liberal folks who want to say, appeal to their base that, you know, I mean, all of us are great. We're fantastic. We're amazing, guys. It's just, you know, the systems that are shit. But come on. There's nothing more beautiful than us. I mean, we're amazing. And people feel real good when you say that because they go, oh, wow, I am amazing, aren't I? Because no one really believes that they're a bad person. But there are a lot of bad people. And there are a lot of people that benefit from the system being the way it is as well. So it's like both. But Marianne Williamson is making the type of response that I expect her to make. And when Bill Maher calls her out on it, she denies that she would ever do that. You know, she would ever say what people want her to say. Ever. Do you really think that you haven't been around the country and you haven't met some people that were just god-awful? I believe what she said is partially true, but I also believe she kind of soft-shoeing it. And since we don't soft-shoe on this show, we're not going to pretend that there weren't people watching other people being lynched and did nothing. We're not going to pretend we live in a country where you could choke a man on the subway train and people do nothing. In fact, they helped the guy choke the guy out. You know what I'm saying? Now, but it's also a country where if four guys jump a black boat operator, maybe some people will jump in. So those two things exist. You know what I'm saying? They exist in this world, but a lot of people don't want to keep it real to that fact.
I'm just saying, I don't think you can ever separate the people from, you know, this government that's thwarting the will, not in a country like this. Yes, of course, in behind the Iron Curtain, the will of the people was not what the East German government wanted. That's certainly not the case. I think our government is a reflection of the people. I think you let the people off the hook a little too easily. The reason we have the people we have, it's you know, they didn't get there by answering a want ad.
Well,
they got there because people voted for them and their policies.
So Bill has a good point when he says that, yeah, these people didn't get here by accident. People elected them and they put them in the positions of power. That's very true. But once you elect somebody, then they kind of go and do off what they want to do and then neglect to do the things they say that they would do. And just because we had the power to vote doesn't mean we had the power to put forth candidates that can operate within this corrupt system. So I agree with Marianne. I'm sure she's gonna push back on this. Yeah, if you want to put everything into the hands of the individual and say, well, it's the individual's problem. So yes, a person can throw a cup out their window and contribute to pollution. And a corporation could take toxic waste, dump it on the ground, and seep it to the ground and get into the water supply, and then give everybody cancer. And that has happened. So the system is way more damaging than an individual ever could be. I'm not saying absolve people from what they do, but recognize the power of what the corporation can do basically compared to the individual.
And politicians, yes, tell people bullshit, but the main reason they tell them bullshit, because if they tell them the truth, they'll throw them out of the race.
Okay, so what you need is somebody who doesn't mind being thrown out of the race. Somebody's got to tell the truth. And when you just said you think I let the people off the hook too much, in the way I see it, you let the government off the hook too much. Because if you look at poll after poll, for instance, the majority of Americans, both Democrats and Republicans, want universal health care. If you look at the polls, the majority of Americans, including Democrats and Republicans, want tuition-free college and tech school. If you look at the polls, the majority
of they want free things. I want ice cream too.
No, those things aren't free. They are how your own tax dollars are
Marianne,
used.
Yes, Americans do by and large want Medicare for all or some type of health coverage. And Americans do want tuition-free college, and Americans do want these certain things. And these are not freebies, Bill Maher. These are things that people pay taxes for. Instead of our taxes going just to have 800 bases across 80 countries in the world, we could spend that money here on healthcare like other civilized nations do. So yeah, that's a good point, but let's not sugarcoat it, Marianne. The reason why we don't have health care is not because people don't want it. It's because some people didn't want it to go to black people. See, if you gave health coverage to everyone, even black people would get it. And we know black people don't work hard, so they don't deserve it. They just sit home and wait for their health care. So this is the idea when I say people can't be let off the hook because, Donald Trump played into this whole white grievance type paranoia, this replacement theory stuff, and then went after the Muslims, the Mexicans, the southern border, blacks wanting to take a knee during a football, so that's what happened. And there was a group of people that were ready for that loved that message so much, they went out and voted for him in droves, and it took Joe Biden coming back from the dead to run against the guy to stop him, because people and institutions, both are horrible. But I'm gonna keep going just a little bit further.
What easier statement could you ever make in politics than people want? Yeah, they want. That's not where the rubber meets the road. Yes, they want free healthcare. What are they willing to sacrifice for it? Are they willing to, why don't we have good healthcare in this country? It's because they never really learned to tame the corporations.
Exactly, my point.
Okay, but who lets that happen?
The government, the legislators who are doing more to serve the profit-making goals of their corporate sponsors.
Oh, come on now, cut the crap now, Bill. Cut the crap. Then no one elected these politicians to go in and then give it away to the corporations. That wasn't in the ballot. When you put your ballot in, no one was like, ooh, I'm going to vote for the candidate that's going to sell us out and go give everything to the corporations and give us nothing, give us diddly squat. Now, no one voted for that, so Bill's being disingenuous here because he's not keeping it real at all. We know that doesn't exist. No one does that. Even black folks who keep voting for Democrats never be like, ooh, I want to vote for the people that's going to screw me over. Now, they're voting for the people that they believe will do less damage than the Republicans who screwed them over definitely. Like, positively feel that. In fact, some of them, they think are Klan members, which I don't know if it's true or not, but that's how black people feel based on the party that tried to fight against civil rights. So we got a lot of issues in this country. But we're not going to pretend that it's not driven by corporations, not driven by corporate greed. It's not driven by special interests putting their fingers on the scale. We're talking about Citizens United, where corporations get to vote just like they were people. So this is all, and then our system is so corrupt, the politicians need the money in order to run, and who's giving the money? Is that coming from everyday working people? Everyday working people aren't getting the money to be able to put into political campaigns like that because of the system, the way it's designed, is set up. Well, we're not keeping up, the pay does not keep up with the cost of inflation. So it's pretty obvious what's happening. We got Bill not keeping it real, not telling it straight. And this is not even the same Bill Maher that it used to be. Bill Maher, like you think he's conservative now, he wasn't this conservative just 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he was, at least he had his car, it was on the shoulder, but it was still on the road. Now he's in the bushes, he's in the weeds, he's way off in the cornfield somewhere, way off the road.
Now doesn't seem to be open to. And that must change, or we will not beat Trump, and we will not bring forth a future that we want for our country.
With just the health issue, again, the greed of the pharmaceutical companies.
Yes.
The food companies.
Right.
The environment.
Right.
All the toxicity in the chemicals. This is why people are so sick. But they're not going to fix this unless you get to that. Why are they sick?
Well, exactly. Why do we have so much more chronic disease than in other countries? And that what you were saying, and I brought that up at both debates, you can't just talk about a healthcare system. You have to realize it's a sickness care system.
Right.
So we have to address issues of chemical policies, agricultural policies, environmental policies, even in economic.
I got a clip of him talking to Marianne Williamson where at least he knew that these corporations that run everything, that these were bad. And they didn't have people's best interests at heart. Now he's just a shell of his former self, which was already translucent, like already pretty hollowed out. I'm not saying that Marianne Williamson was totally wrong. She's not totally wrong. She's right. She's wrong about some things. She's right about a lot of things here. I do blame corporations. I do blame corrupt politics. I do blame media that's also part of corporations, also parroting the same old talking points in order to achieve whatever means they're trying to achieve. But I agree with Bill on the fact that I don't let people off the hook for allowing this to continue. These things are staying in place because people are allowing them to. We should hold people accountable for what people can do, and we have to demand that our brothers and sisters get involved and be a part of the solution. We got to stop voting for the same types of crap. We got to push back. We got to fight back. We have to use our platforms. Never before have we had this type of ability. The average person has access to create their own platform and reach thousands of people, if not millions, with a message that can help change this around. And if we don't do that, then that's on all of us. And it's not just on the corporations, it's on all of us for not being a part of that change. And we got to make that change. But we got to be honest, Marianne Williamson. We got to be honest. It ain't all sunshines and rainbows out there and lollipops, cotton candy. It's some weirdos out there that are intent and content with our destruction and our down. And some are bigoted and xenophobic and homophobic and all the phobias and all the isms, right? And that all exists and it's real. And that's not a joke. People running around off this white grievance that they are the deprived group. Meanwhile, it's people in their group that are doing very fine, that are very, very comfortable pitting us against one another while they pick up all the money off the table and go in the back and take a tour to Italy. Go to Abu Dhabi while we struggle. So let me know what you think about this video in the comments section below. Remember, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. And if we all band together, it can be true. It's a new day.
Extra innings are bonus segments from Tim Black's Black Table Show with the Blacks. That's Tim Black and the amazing Mrs. Black. For early access to extra innings, become a paid member of the Tim Black Show at jointimblack.com. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Baby, join today. See you there, Wolfpack.